All right, let's just jump right in. We all think we know American football, right? The big hits, the genius plays, the raw athleticism. It's a world we're all super familiar with. But what if I told you that underneath all of that, there's this hidden structure, a totally self-contained ecosystem that plays by its own rules, one that actually turns the entire sport into a living, breathing creature?
I mean, on the surface, it's pretty clear. It's a battle of wills. You got coaches drawing up these intricate plays, players trying to execute them perfectly. It's basically a complex, super physical chess match on a 100-yard board. And look, that's all absolutely true, but as we're about to see, that's really just scratching the surface.
So here's the central question, the one that changes everything. This idea comes from a fascinating framework called the Ouroboros theory, and it suggests that the NFL operates like that ancient symbol of a serpent devouring its own tail, an endless, self-sustaining cycle. Yeah, it's a pretty wild idea, so let's break it down piece by piece.
Okay, first things first, we have to completely change how we look at the league itself. The theory says that to really get it, you have to stop thinking of the NFL as just a business with a bunch of teams. You have to start seeing it as its own little universe, a universe with its own unique laws of physics.
So this universe is what the theory calls a unified manifold. Fancy term, right? But all it really means is that it's a closed system. Just think about it for a second. A yard gained by an offense is, by definition, a yard lost by the defense. A roster spot that one player wins is a spot another player loses. In this world, nothing new is ever really created from the outside, and nothing is ever truly gone. It's just endlessly recycled inside the system.
And you know what the best real-world example of this is? The salary cap. It's the ultimate enforcer of this closed system. There's a fixed pot of money, which basically represents the total talent pool. So let's say you win the Super Bowl. Well, congratulations, because now your best players get way more expensive. You can't afford everyone, so you're forced to shed that talent. And where does it go? Right back into the system for other teams to pick up. It's this incredible self-balancing loop. And it's totally different from, say, European soccer, where a rich owner can just decide to pump in more and more money from the outside world.
And get this, even inside this really ordered universe, the football itself acts as this beautiful little agent of chaos. A perfect spiral pass, that's pure order. It's predictable. But the second that ball hits the turf, that weird oblong shape means the balance is completely unpredictable. It can change a game, a whole season, even a player's career. It's like a little chaos generator, introducing pure randomness into the system.
Okay, so if the league is a universe, then what does that make the players? Well, according to this theory, they aren't just athletes doing a job. They are fundamental archetypes, each one playing a specific, almost cosmic role inside this giant machine. Let's take a look at what some of these roles actually are.
So the first and maybe the most important archetype is called the autonomous part. This is the piece of the system that somehow contains the entire system within itself. It's a tiny mirror of the whole game.
And in football, who else could it be? It's the quarterback. He's the only guy on the field whose mind literally has to hold all 22 positions, the play call, the game clock, and predict the defense's reaction, all in a fraction of a second. His mind is a miniature version of the entire football universe.
All right, next up we have the systemic part. Now this isn't your star player. This is the very foundation. It's like the scaffolding of the play, providing the structure that lets everyone else do their jobs. And this is a perfect description of the offensive line, right? Their job isn't to be the hero or score the touchdown. Their job is to create order out of the chaos of the defensive line. They build the pocket, that stable, safe environment that lets the entire offense function. Without them, the whole system just collapses.
And this mapping of archetypes, it just keeps going right across the field. You've got the relational parts, like a wide receiver and the cornerback who covers him. I mean, their jobs only exist in direct opposition to each other. Then you have the adaptive parts, like a linebacker or safety, who have to constantly read and react to restore balance to the play. And my personal favorite, the emergent part. Think of a great punt returner, someone who takes a moment of pure chaos and creates something totally new and spectacular out of it.
So we've got this closed universe, and it's filled with these archetypal players. But here's the thing. The system isn't static. It's a living thing. It's constantly changing, constantly evolving. And the engine that drives all that evolution is the Ouroboros itself. The game is always feeding on its own past to create its future.
You can even see this cycle in the rhythm of the season itself. The early season, that's about exploitation, when teams are testing out new strategies, figuring out what works. Then the mid-season becomes conservation. You found your identity, and now you're just trying to perfect it. The playoffs, that's the release, this chaotic explosion of energy where only the most adaptable teams survive.
And finally, the off-season is reorganization. The serpent sheds its old skin, learns from what happened, and gets reborn for the next cycle.
And that cycle is what drives all strategic evolution in the game. Every great offensive idea, from the smash-mouth football of the 50s to Bill Walsh's brilliant West Coast offense, creates a new problem that the defense has to solve. And that solution, like the zone blitz, then becomes a new problem for the offense to solve. It's just a perpetual arms race, a thesis, an antithesis, and a new synthesis, over and over again.
The modern run-pass option, the RPO, is the perfect example of this today. It literally creates a paradox for a single defender. It's a play that is both a run and a pass at the exact same time. By reading just one defender, the quarterback forces that guy into an impossible lose-lose choice. No matter what he does, he's wrong. It is a beautiful, beautiful piece of strategic evolution.
So all of this, the closed system, the archetypes, this constant evolution, it all brings us right back to that central image we started with, the game that eats itself. It shows us that this whole thing is locked in an eternal, recursive loop, constantly circling back on itself.
You know, we look at the league and we see 32 separate teams competing with each other. But through this lens, they're all just different parts of a single organism. That intense rivalry between, say, the Eagles and the Cowboys, that isn't two separate things fighting. That's the Ouroboros wrestling with itself. And that conflict is what drives the entire system forward.
So the most important takeaway here is this. In football, every single ending is just a new beginning. A terrible season last year is the direct cause of a great draft pick this year. A new rule designed to protect quarterbacks directly leads to defenses getting smaller and faster to try and counter them. The game is always consuming its own history to create whatever comes next.
So the next time you sit down to watch a game, try to see beyond just the individual plays or the final score. Look for the cycle. Watch the universe try to balance itself out. See the beautiful, complex, and eternal creature that's churning away just underneath the surface. Because as this theory puts it so perfectly, the serpent eats, the serpent grows, the serpent plays.